Hey y'all, it's 6th of June. I'll make my appearance. Good morning. I'm just getting my motor running. It's early. It's so beautiful. 7:30 in the morning. I've already been out, took the garbage out. It's beautiful. Cheers. Well, I'll keep it simple this morning and just show yesterday, besides everything else I did in life, I played some sides. I put quite a few of them away, but yeah, I show albums um, because of the size and the art, but I got a bunch of CDs and I play them. I sure do. Really nothing new on the personal music front. I'm just, as I shared with Jim Fields the other day during the visit, I have material close to being finished, a lot of it finished. It would just need to be sequenced and mastered, and then would need to find artwork for my next release. I'm not real motivated at the moment to work on it, and I'm fine with that. And that's what I was saying to Jim. It's like last year there was I had a real motivation to release those records, and it's the energy is low right now, and it's fine. Kind of like writer's block. I don't worry about writer's block. Some people worry that they'll lose if they don't keep doing. I don't worry about it. So, message to my family out in California. I talked to my nephew Kareem on the phone yesterday, hoping for the dust to settle. Life is messy. I, for one, know that it is ridiculous to take sides. I ain't taking nobody's sides. I just hope everybody can be okay and let the dust settle. Yeah, I still haven't bought a mouse, but it's like it clicks in and out of being recognized. That prompt, that ding ding ding, it's like it loses it and then it finds it again. It's like there's a short in the wire or something. I don't know. So, you know, the thing that I'll share with about my conversation with my nephew yesterday, Kareem, my older nephew, is that he was asking me about my relationship with my dad because he's going through some changes, with his kids, and I dare say he's challenged with his own behavior. And I was very frank by saying, I recognize that I'm a whole lot like my father. I've just made different choices with regard to things that we have in common. So I hope everything in the long run, I hope that the wounds heal. I know that even though my dad has been gone since the 80s, I'm still recovering. I am. So this almost got, I was thinking it was time for this to go, and I just enjoyed it so much yesterday that it's like, it's a keeper. It's, but it's not that I need more of this. I've kind of moved past this area of interest, noise rock. But this is a keeper. This is good. If you've never heard this, Terminal Cheesecake. Don't know anything about the band VCL. I have Another one by them that's not as good to me. Terminal Cheesecake. I don't know the story. If you know something about this band, or if you were in the band and you want to tell us something in the comments, let us know. It's a little harsher than Jesus and Mary Chain regarding the feedback. They don't sound like Jesus and Mary Chain, but that's a reference regarding the fact that it's so noisy. It's such a noisy sound. This is a really good album from the past. It's a reissue. Summerhill. Played this again. Bought it not that long ago. I remember when this was out back in the 60s, I would see the cover, and in the cutouts, it would always be in the higher priced range, so I could never afford it. This is a very good album. There's a lot of classical references in the music here, and these guys can really play. And there's so much the variety in what they're doing that at one point I was wondering, what am I listening to? I like that when that happens. It's like, wow, it's a good album. Now here's a curious record. Thirsty Moon, German band. A real good time. This is part of my collection on Brain. This is their least satisfying album. It's really kind of goofy. This album sounds goofy. It really does. It's like, what in the hell is going on here? I think the cover is appropriate. I have another album by them, which is way cool. It's still sitting right here so I can show it. I think this is their first album. Thirsty Moon. This is killer. It's a psychedelic and kind of jazzy. Really, really cool sounding. So what I would gather, I can only make an assumption, is that this is the album that they were under pressure from the record company to make something more commercial. We need a single. The lyrics on here are just terrible. I know they're German, and maybe the translations aren't very good, but the general gist of the lyrics is just trite as hell. I dare say they're probably aimed at teenagers sitting in your lonely room. And this is another example where the saxophone is like, oh my God, this is just the most wretched saxophone playing. This is my opinion. This is a keeper. And it's interesting that the best songs are at the end of each side. Cloudy Sky is at the end of side one. That saves the album. It's like, oh, there's Thirsty Moon. That's the album. That's the band that was. It's a Green Brain. Love it. So but I actually played the whole album. It was like, this is weird. Here's another one where I don't know a thing about the band. 13 Moons, Origins. These names make me think that they're from Anders and Mars Gunnarsson. Anyway, I love this album. 13 Moons, Origins. It has some really delicate melodies that are played by electric guitar with, sounds like mellotron. Oh, just beautiful. Maybe another album similar to this musically is Virginia Astley. But what's interesting again is there's a passage on here where the saxophone lets loose, and it's like, ugh, so weird. I like the saxophone, but there's a lot of saxophone playing that I don't like. That the way that it's been chosen to be used sounds cheesy to me. And it's interesting to me because on side 2, it's this track, Undercurrent. It's gorgeous. And then it's the next track where it's like, you lost the plot with that damn saxophone. It's like, who likes that? I don't. Like on a lot of saxophone, actually, in pop music, like Pink Floyd's album on Money, that's better than this, but I've never liked that. I hate the sound of the sax on Young Americans. One example that I can think of in pop music where the saxophone is is good to me is Urgent by Foreigner with Junior Walker. Mostly when I think about pop music and sax, it's like, oh, it makes my skin crawl. That 13 Moons is killer. So I did a blind poll yesterday, and of all things, I pulled this. I said, okay, go ahead and listen to it. Because this is something I found, used, and it's just an odd thing. Berlin Music Workshop, November Symphony. This is like Dada. It's but it's very interesting because the one side I played, there was a piece where it sounds like, okay, they're doing something here, kind of percussive. And then the next thing, it's like the tape recorder is just on and you're listening to a conversation in German with the ambient sounds of what's happening in the room. When I've looked this up online, it's rare and kind of expensive. It's a keeper, but it's like, it's odd. I don't know what it's about. I don't speak German. This was a definite, like a comfort food that I played this. I just love this. Played it a couple times. Yukihiro Takahashi and Steve Jansen did this single where they collaborated. Stay Close and the B-side Betsuni. Both songs were just fantastic. I love that view, Mount Fuji. I've been there. I've sat on a lake like that and looked at Mount Fuji, as well as been to the top of Mount Fuji. Fantastic. Love their music. Caught my attention that yesterday was Laurie Anderson's birthday, so I played this all the way through. Strange Angels. Great artist. I met her, seen her live 3 times, got to meet her. I tried to get a picture. A friend of mine who's deceased now took a picture of us when I met her in Minneapolis, but I could never get a copy of the picture from him, so now I can. He's gone. Laurie Anderson. Yeah. So that's what I'll share this morning. That'll do. Is that it? Well, I have a couple of more things down here. So I played the Jan again, Zayan Electric Silence. When I had this originally as a kid, it was like, this is, I thought I was down, but I wasn't ready for it. It's like, this is really good, and way more Mahavishnu-like than I originally picked up on as a kid. Here's a single by Uncle, Eye for an Eye. Really good song. I don't know what the Eye for an Eye is a sample of. I don't think it's an original vocal for this. I may be wrong. But this is really good. It's just good. Someone in the online in one of the groups found a copy of this recently, and he found it pretty beat. I looked, but he was going on and on about it. The Advancement. I found this, maybe a year or so ago for less than 20, like maybe 20, 25 bucks. And the way that this guy was talking about it, I had to look it up and see. It's like, whoa, this has really gone up in value. I don't know why. It's very good. The Advancement, 1969 or 1970. Lynn Blessing is on here, on Vibes. Featured a lot. And this is a bit, I'd say, ahead of the times. It's kind of an ambient, jazzy sound. It's kind of hard to describe. It's really good. And everything else I've shown. So, there's no Bandcamp Friday until September, and I'm just going to just ride it out. I'm so used to not having money that if I have enough money to cover my needs, then I'm good, and I do. I haven't bought any records, for weeks, and it needs to stay that way for a while, as I recover. I need some tree removal, and I'm waiting for a musician who does that kind of work to get back to me. I removed a huge limb off my tree in the front yesterday, when I was finally able to get it pulled down because it's been kind of caught. Huge. If it had fallen on me, it would have injured me. So more time outside today, more sunshine. I have to try to avoid the news. It's very, very bizarre. It's very, very bizarre. People have lost their minds. They're just showing their true colors. America was never a fair country. It was never about the American dream. It was all about fooling the people by those who had the advantage from the get-go. A lot of money is old money that's passed on. Trump is a perfect example. That's why he's such a tragedy. And a couple things I want to get out about him and about this mess. It's like Congress, those people are getting paid good money to do nothing, and we're getting no representation. The American people get no representation. It burns me when I hear people like MTG say, the American people want this. How the fuck does she know? It's what she wants. She doesn't represent me. I'm part of the American people. It's absolutely absurd that the Christian nationalists who claim by using that word Christian that they're followers of the teachings of Christ. How do they square this when their proposed or their chosen political leader is a legally defined sexual predator? He is a rapist and a convicted felon. On top of that, anyone that's ever knows anything about his history has seen how he's gotten away with quite a few felonies and is very racist and very hateful. How do they spin this into being part of being Christian? They can't. They've lost their minds. It's wrong. It's wrong. And the other thing that I want to say again is the office of the presidency is supposed to be holding the person in it to a higher standard. I don't see anything higher standard about Donald Trump or his party right now. These people are really showing. It's like they're possessed with evil. And I don't believe in Satan. I attribute that evil energy to us. It's part of human nature. And they're really showing the backside of human nature. It's inexcusable and indefensible, and yet it goes on. So I just have to kind of pull back from. The next thing I want to hear about is sentencing and accountability. Okay, that's what I have to say. Other than that, have a good day, people, and let me know how you're doing.